episode of The Truth Redone. Shorter and nicer, sweeter, more succinct and to the point. Okay, we got the war, this thing going on in Ukraine. You know, we've had these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Let's get real here. We have an interventionist foreign policy. Our founding fathers warned of empire. In fact, we look at the history of the world and we can see empire is what has caused most major civilizations to fall. The British are still, luckily for them, still around, but they were almost a subject, or they were almost a victim of their own creation. You know, empire. The Romans, empire. The Ottoman Empire. The Persians, empire. All those societies were Genghis Khan, Mongols, empire. Russia, the big USSR, empire. All of them failed because they're going out and they're meddling in other people's business. See, we think we can go out and push our foreign policy around the world. But the fact of the matter is, when we go fight these little wars for democracy and freedom, well, it's kind of sad we fight for democracy, considering we are not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. But nonetheless, I digress. See, when we go fight these wars for freedom for other countries, these people do not fight for themselves. They do not truly appreciate, and therefore it pretty much will always fall to the wayside. For example, Iraq, falling apart. We went in there and tried to put something there for them without them doing it for themselves. But dung, failure. Afghanistan, obviously going to be a failure. Vietnam, kind of like, didn't work out too well. I mean, North Korea, we got half of it, but the other half are still on oppression. I mean, you can't make people be free unless they want it themselves, and they have to fight for themselves. The people in Ukraine want to be free. They need to go and take care of them damn selves. Putin can have all his troops lined up on the border and just invade. But if it becomes something where the people just don't give him what he wants no matter what, and they're willing to pay the ultimate price like the founding fathers did, believe me, he'll fail. People, if they want freedom to last, have to fight for themselves and have an understanding of it. That's why right now our freedom is disappearing, because we have lost an understanding of what it took to get that freedom, and we don't know what it takes to maintain it. And we are probably, hopefully not, but maybe, going to fall victim to that. And so we have to look and say, well, if we're having this problem ourselves and we're trying to, what makes us think we can go, push this on other people if they're not earning it either? I mean, and make it last. It's a lie. It's impossible. People have to earn freedom for themselves, otherwise they don't understand what it takes to maintain it and will eventually fall apart. Sooner rather than later, usually. We lasted for as long as we did because we've had a lot of good patriots that have shed blood over the years. God bless their souls. Now, we need to focus ourselves back on our country. We need to get ourselves back involved in our own country, get out of all these 100+ countries we have military bases in, and focus on us. The huge expense we have keeping troops overseas in countries that we've been in for 70 years now, like Germany, where we left people after World War II, which, by the way, we created that situation by the harsh requirements of the armistice from World War I. We primed and set up Germany for a fascist leader like Hitler. We set them up for some nationalistic guy to come in and say, hey, you've been oppressed and put upon. And bread costs like 10,000 marks a loaf, which is ridiculous because these people have done this to you. Fight back. And they did. But unfortunately, he was a zealous, freaking racist, freaking anti-Semitic dumbass, and but we set that up because they were looking for a nationalist guy, and he happened to be it. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you get involved in other people's business. And now look at after that war that we kind of caused with the armistice. 70 years later, we're still there. This has got to stop. Japan, we're still there. 70 years later, Korea, 50 years later, still there. We need to bring our money and our troops back home and focus on fixing our own country first. And all this giving other countries money when we're going broke is ridiculous. Stop spending the money overseas. We need to have that money not spent at all. Not spent here, but just not spent at all. So we can stop printing money at the Federal Reserve at the tune of quantitative easing style $70 billion a month, making the dollar worthless. We're doing it to ourselves. And our foreign policy is just a booster to top it off. We need to focus on America, and we need to stop giving money to other countries. You can't, if they don't agree with us, we don't trade with them. They don't get weapons that we want to sell. They don't get our goods we want to sell. Our their incentive to be pro-American should be what we have to offer, not what you're going to give them for free. That's not a free market. That is making us a slave to other people, because when they want something from us, they go, oh, well, if you'll give us more, we're going to close the Suez Canal, say if we're Egypt. Okay? No. You don't want to be our buddies? Fine. You don't get our stuff. No M1 tanks, no F-16s, none of that crap, no $1 billion. None of that. Don't buy foreign policy, because all it does is make America a slave to another country's will, and we're just trying to appease them to keep ourselves in their favor. So let's get right. Let's bring our foreign policy back home, and just make ourselves not isolationists, but Americans that deal with people who are pro-American, and not trying to buy a pro-American attitude. Let's be great and make people want what we have, because we have so much to offer. I think that's pretty simple. That's the truth. Thanks for listening.